Say, are you guys suggesting that there's something mysterious going on here?
No.
Not at all. She was just,
Reminiscing. Yeah, about that summer when I was working at that TV station for my school project.
Did you hear it? School project. From the movie that this supposedly is a sequel to, Daphne Blake was a bona fide journalist with Fred as her cameraman, and the gang was on the outs when this was the case that brought them all back together.
Ooh, stories like that always give me the heebie-jeebies. Ooh, no wonder you became a reporter.
This is a completely reductionist take on the Scooby-Doo gang. They're letting the sheriff call them off cases, and we have to sit through a painful amount of the gang ignoring clues because of a contrived promise to Shaggy and Scooby, who should probably bail on the island retreat at the first sign of trouble. Oh, and Fred sold the Mystery Machine. Let me say that again. Fred sold the Mystery Machine. I think that can stand as a metaphor for this whole movie. They don't just refer to Zombie Island, they make callbacks to a whole slew of fan favorites. I was actually surprised that they included a reference to the reluctant werewolf. The fact that it was acknowledged was actually kind of cool. What isn't good is how when we were given Zombie Island, the Mystery Gang was growing up. They were adults out in the world. I'd have to check, but I don't remember anyone referring to any of them as kids throughout the entire feature. But here, around every corner, they're referred to as kids, again and again.
And then we wouldn't have Coast to Coast with Daphne Blake, your very successful syndicated series on Americana, going on its second season, I might add. I never miss it.
I can forgive that in the average Scooby-Doo movie. They're mostly out-of-time, nebulous pieces in no particular sequence. Except this one is. And the movie goes to pains to reduce their age from where they were. This is after Zombie Island. This is after they learn that some monsters are real. And we all know that that idea has been reused several times over. And in order to keep the gang convinced that monsters aren't real, they're characterized as neurotic nutcases.
Maybe after we find Scooby and Shaggy, we can occupy our minds with something else, like shuffleboard or whatever you're supposed to do on vacation.
It makes sense that they would be. They're not themselves in this movie. Fred sold the Mystery Machine and proceeds to pine away over the loss, which is juxtaposed with his ongoing relationship with Daphne, which superficially also appears to have regressed since they left Zombie Island the last time. Regarding Fred selling the van, remember, this is all because some jackass sheriff ordered these young adults to quit solving mysteries, and the movie concludes with them pleading for said sheriff to relent that prohibition. Of course, no one questions him coming all the way to Louisiana to investigate the possibility that they might be up to something for an unfunny gag at the end. This guy would seriously need to be investigated. He's stalking them. There's nothing coincidental about this. On to the core of the plot. I was blindsided by a couple of red herrings because I was too busy keeping track of the glaring breaks in continuity.
Yeah, about that summer when I was working at that TV station for my school project.
So I don't really know if this is on the movie or me. In any case, they win an all-expense-paid vacation and without questioning the address.
I think Daphne's thinking of Moon Scar, the island we visited with the zombies and the cat people and Danger. The island that's clearly not this one.
Seriously, this is a dumb movie. They proceed to find themselves in a reality, wait for it, movie, as opposed to a reality TV show. That subplot would have made leaps and bounds more sense to me if this all had simply been a prank show that had already been pulled on several people and hasn't aired until at least after getting the Scooby-Doo gang. So that's the twist. The complication on top of the twist is that there's a genuine cat creature mucking around with the film crew. Don't look for an explanation of how there could be one after the events of the first movie, because they never explain it. It just is. And that's about the best I can say about this movie. I don't think the characters act at all realistically when they have clear evidence that they're retreading old territory. Furthermore, Velma is the least like herself of everybody. Consider this ending.
Looks like your 9 lives are up.
I didn't read that wrong, did I? She makes a statement which accepts the mystical powers at hand. And yet in this movie, she's neurotically convinced that there has to be some rational explanation to all this. There's no rational explanation to any of this. except for one thing. Bad writing, derived from lack of regard for continuity. As Scooby-Doo movies go, this isn't so bad as a standalone, but it goes out of its way to reference previous material and should therefore work with it to fuel the story rather than break it. Allow me to relate one of the greatest missed opportunities of the story. The movie starts out with a montage of catching a whole passel of familiar fiends, which left me wondering if we were supposed to be recapping the whole series. No. And good on the writers for that. Instead, the first guy who was captured was good old man Smithers, and then the rest was his clan. So we have a foreshadowing of family coming together against Scooby-Doo and his friends in a play for revenge. So I kept expecting someone to be revealed as a far-flung relative to the people we see in the previous movie. If we have to return to the island, then we can do with a loophole of someone who wasn't living as a cat creature at the time, but has a latent gene or some such. I'm just spitballing here, really. I'm just trying to use what they gave me at the start of all this. But since this is a sequel to a singularly impressive piece of children's media, I am disappointed at how mediocre this all was. What's the matter? Our kids aren't deserving of quality entertainment? I'd rather I'd never returned to Zombie Island.